Los Angeles is facing an unprecedented crisis, one that has forced thousands of residents to flee the city they once called home. The city's long-standing appeal is being overshadowed by an escalating wildfire crisis, an unforgiving housing market, and a lack of adequate governmental support. Each day, thousands of individuals and families are forced to leave behind their homes, businesses, and communities, seeking refuge in other parts of California or beyond. The reality is grim. What was once the city of dreams has turned into a nightmare for many. The wildfire crisis in Los Angeles has reached unprecedented levels, reducing entire neighborhoods to ash and rendering thousands of residents homeless overnight. The devastation is not just in the loss of homes, but in the chain reaction of crises that follow. Middle-class and low-income families, who lack the financial cushion to recover quickly, are thrust into an abyss of uncertainty. The existing homeless population in Los Angeles, already one of the largest in the country at 119,141 individuals in 2024, is set to swell dramatically as at least 50,000 displaced residents join their ranks. The crisis is further exacerbated by the relentless greed of landlords and the betrayal of insurance companies. As displaced residents scramble for housing, landlords seize the opportunity to exploit demand, doubling or even tripling rents overnight. Insurance companies, once seen as a lifeline for disaster-stricken homeowners, have turned their backs on those in need. Thousands of residents who faithfully paid premiums for years found themselves abandoned when they needed support the most. Claims were denied, delayed, or outright refused, leaving homeowners without the financial means to rebuild. The fallout from these compounded crises is forcing an increasing number of Los Angeles residents to flee the city entirely. Many leave not by choice but by necessity, escaping an environment that has become unsustainable for anyone outside the wealthiest elite. Families are moving to other cities within California, or even out of the state altogether, often with nothing but shattered dreams and bankruptcy in their wake. This migration trend is not just altering the demographics of Los Angeles, but is also contributing to rising homelessness in other parts of the country, as displaced Californians struggle to find stability elsewhere. Dive deep with me to uncover the reasons why Los Angeles residents are fleeing the city. Los Angeles rental crisis. Why you'll never afford to live here again. Los Angeles is facing an unprecedented rental crisis, with housing costs surging at an alarming rate. Residents are struggling to keep up with rent increases, making it increasingly difficult to live in one of the country's most iconic cities. Many have already lost their homes, bouncing from Airbnb to Airbnb, desperately searching for a place to rent while landlords continue to exploit the high demand. The numbers are staggering. A property that was listed at $5,900 per month in September has now jumped to an astonishing $29,500. Some landlords have raised rent prices by as much as 124%, taking advantage of the growing housing shortage. In desirable neighborhoods such as Santa Monica and West Hollywood, the cost of a one-bedroom apartment averages around $2,400, with prices soaring even higher in more sought-after areas. For those looking to live in a decently maintained apartment, affordability has become a major concern. Part of the rental price surge is attributed to recent wildfires, which have displaced many residents and heightened housing demand. However, while the need for homes has grown, landlords have capitalized on this crisis, raising prices well beyond legal limits. California law places a cap on rent increases at 10%, but many landlords are blatantly ignoring this regulation. As a result, lawsuits against these property owners are expected in the coming months, with legal actions being pursued by those in the real estate sector who are determined to protect renters from unlawful price gouging. The evidence of predatory pricing is widespread. In Altadena, one property initially listed for $4,500 per month was suddenly raised to $6,000 overnight, when the landlord failed to secure a tenant at the original rate. There are over 2,000 units where rent increases between December and January have defied the state's legal cap. Some renters, desperate for a home, have even resorted to offering 6 months of rent up front, yet landlords continue to raise prices beyond reach. One tenant offered $20,000 per month for a listing, only for the landlord to counter with $23,000. Despite these challenges, there is still hope. As a native Angeleno, I have seen the city bounce back time and time again. Community efforts, legal action, and advocacy from real estate professionals are beginning to challenge these predatory practices. While enforcement of rent control laws remains a challenge, the collective pushback against exploitative landlords is growing stronger. Los Angeles has a history of resilience, and through awareness and legal accountability, there is a pathway to fairer housing practices. The road ahead is difficult, but the fight for affordable housing in Los Angeles is far from over. Shocking truth. Can Los Angeles ever solve its housing nightmare? Los Angeles has long been known for its sunny skies, vibrant culture, and economic opportunities. But when it comes to housing, the city faces an ongoing crisis. Whether renting or buying, affordability remains a major obstacle for many residents. The median home price in Los Angeles hovers around $940,000, making homeownership a distant dream for most working individuals. Some areas are even more expensive. Altadena, for instance, averages $1.3 million for a typical 3-bedroom home, while the Pacific Palisades sees properties priced just under $4 million. These astronomical figures highlight the growing difficulty for the average Angeleno to secure housing, whether purchasing or renting. Several factors contribute to this housing crisis, including high land costs and strict building regulations that make new developments challenging and expensive. The limited housing supply further exacerbates the issue, with demand far outpacing availability. While there is no single solution to this growing problem, zoning laws also play a critical role in shaping the housing landscape. Easing restrictions to allow for more multi-family units could significantly increase housing availability. However, shifting from a single-family home to an apartment or multi-family dwelling is not always an easy transition. Many people prefer the autonomy and space that comes with a standalone house. Yards, garages, and driveways offer a lifestyle that apartment buildings often lack. That said, modern apartment buildings with high-quality management can provide a hassle-free alternative where maintenance costs and repairs are not the tenant's burden. For those seeking to rent, affordability remains a significant challenge. Rental qualifications often require tenants to earn 2.5 to 3 times the monthly rent. In Los Angeles, where a typical rental costs around $2,500 per month, a tenant would need to earn at least $7,500 monthly just to qualify. This requirement does not even account for other expenses, such as utilities, groceries, and daily necessities, making it even harder for many to secure stable housing. If you lost your home in a wildfire, what happens to your mortgage? When disaster strikes and a home is destroyed, homeowners are left grappling with a series of financial and logistical challenges. Key concerns include what happens to their mortgage obligations, property taxes, and the cost of securing alternative housing. This complex issue involves various legal and financial mechanisms, and understanding these factors can help homeowners navigate this difficult period. One of the first concerns is property taxes. In Los Angeles County, for example, Tax Assessor Jeff Prang explains that homeowners can apply for a reduction in assessed value through a program known as misfortune and calamity. If a home is significantly damaged or completely destroyed, the assessed value of the structure is reduced to zero, reflecting the loss. However, the land itself is still taxable. This distinction is crucial because, in high-value areas like Malibu and Pacific Palisades, land accounts for nearly 2/3 of the total assessed property value. This means that despite losing their homes, many property owners will still face high tax bills. Homeowners also benefit from protections under Proposition 13. If they choose to rebuild, their property tax rate remains unchanged as long as they rebuild within 120% of the original structure's value. This allows for some upgrades, such as adding wood flooring or modernizing fixtures, without triggering a reassessment. However, if the rebuild exceeds the 120% threshold, the additional value will be subject to new tax rates. The issue of mortgages presents another major challenge. Many affected homeowners wonder if they are still responsible for their mortgage payments after their house is destroyed. Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Much like a car loan, losing the asset does not eliminate the debt. However, mortgage servicers may offer forbearance options, allowing homeowners to defer payments temporarily. This can provide short-term relief, but interest continues to accrue and the original loan terms remain unchanged. Ultimately, homeowners will have to repay the full amount, potentially facing financial hardship in the process. Another critical aspect of post-disaster financial struggles is the rental market. With displaced homeowners looking for temporary housing, demand for rental properties skyrockets. Some landlords attempt to exploit the situation by dramatically raising rents. However, price gouging laws limit rent increases to no more than 10% within 30 days of a declared emergency. Despite these regulations, rental prices can still climb due to market pressures. Additionally, previously unlisted properties may suddenly reappear at significantly higher rates, reflecting both demand and opportunistic pricing strategies. The influx of workers involved in reconstruction efforts further strains the housing supply, compounding the issue. In summary, losing a home presents not only emotional and logistical difficulties, but also significant financial burdens. Homeowners must navigate ongoing property tax obligations, mortgage payments, and a competitive rental market. While some relief programs exist, they do not eliminate the financial strain, underscoring the long-term challenges that disaster-affected families face. The challenges and realities of the housing market in Los Angeles. The affordability of renting has become one of the most pressing issues in today's housing market. While many factors contribute to this crisis, one major concern is that landlords often do not verify whether tenants can actually afford the rent they are being charged. Instead, the primary focus is on maximizing profits, leaving many renters in precarious situations. As the real estate market remains unpredictable, recent natural disasters have further complicated matters, causing home prices to skyrocket. This has left both buyers and renters with difficult decisions, whether to rebuild, relocate, or downsize in a market that offers few viable options. For those affected by disasters, the question of where to go next is a painful one. If a home is lost to fire, for example, and the rental market remains unaffordable, what options do people truly have? Some are choosing to leave Los Angeles altogether, seeking more affordable living arrangements in Orange County or Palm Springs. However, for many, relocation is not a feasible option due to work, family, or financial constraints. This dilemma has resulted in thousands being left homeless, a crisis that continues to unfold in major cities like Los Angeles. Despite the devastation, some individuals are choosing to rebuild their lives with optimism. Take, for instance, Judkins, a nearly 90-year-old woman who, despite the odds, is determined to reconstruct her home sustainably. She understands that even if she only enjoys her new home for a short period, it will serve as a meaningful space for future generations. This type of resilience highlights the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Unfortunately, as rent prices soar, the likelihood of them significantly dropping remains low. Landlords continue to take advantage of the crisis, sometimes engaging in price gouging, raising rent far beyond reasonable limits. Many renters are unaware that increasing rent by over 10% can be illegal, and this situation has shed light on the urgent need for greater awareness and legal protections. While the challenges in the housing market are immense, they also serve as a wake-up call, educating the public about the broader realities of real estate and rental policies. Despite these hardships, some individuals maintain a positive outlook, seeing an opportunity to adapt and rebuild. The resilience of a city like Los Angeles is evident, and while the market may be in turmoil now, it will eventually stabilize. The most important thing is to keep pushing forward, finding ways to navigate the ever-changing landscape of housing. However, it is crucial to continue addressing the deeper systemic issues that contribute to unaffordable living conditions, ensuring that everyone has a fair chance at securing stable housing.